Happy Sunday, everyone. Welcome to Our Issues Birmingham. We have today Birmingham Times Media Group, Chief Cook and Bottle Washer.
That's
I
correct.
call you that.
That's correct.
Barnett Wright with us. Barnett is a regular and a fantastic guest and has a lot to say because he has what I believe is his finger on the pulse of the city of Birmingham in lots of different areas. So how you been?
I'm good, and I think it's also important to say we go way back. I mean,
We go back to my days in Vestavia, which started in 2005.
right, and this is my 25th anniversary in Birmingham, and we go all the way back. Moved from Philadelphia, as you know, came here 25 years now, and you were among the luminaries that I met when I moved here, and we're still friends.
Well, the operative words are we still friends. We're closer friends.
Yes.
I remember your first call to me. I always talk with the press. Back then, I was a little more guarded than I am now. As I've gotten older, I've learned some things about how to articulate certain things, especially to the press, because y'all have a special way of spinning things.
Some have a special way of spinning things, but those relationships are always very, very important.
Got to have them.
Got to have them.
So Birmingham has been under a lot of scrutiny lately, and people act as if we're like an aberration. And I think one thing I'd like the audience to understand is the gun violence that's going on here is not peculiar to Birmingham. It's going on like this everywhere. And it's going on in very small pockets, not of just communities, but of people.
Yeah.
You know, we're not talking about a widespread 1,000 people militia. We're talking 100, 150 individuals who are just bad actors, in my opinion. Am I correct about that?
That's absolutely correct. Whether you see it in a big city like Chicago or even surrounding cities in Birmingham Metro, not to pick on anybody, Bessemer, you know, you often see issues in Bessemer, Centerpoint, some of these surrounding communities. So it's not just Birmingham, you're absolutely correct.
Well, yeah, when you say that, you're not excluding Hoover.
No.
They've had some problems here lately. I don't think Vestavia. I think Homewood maybe.
Right.
But when I say Birmingham, when I speak from this pulpit, I'm talking about Jefferson County primarily.
Right.
Now, our signal goes way beyond all of that.
Right.
But when I think Birmingham, I think Jefferson County.
Absolutely.
Which is 36 plus municipalities. So, you know, Birmingham gets the rap because that's where most of it is happening. And we have issues within our police department. We have a great chief, but he's understaffed.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're working on it. There's been a recent request for volunteers to come forward, and that got criticized.
Right. Well, you're talking about the citizens observer patrols where they go out there and help. And yeah, it was criticized because you talk about training and, you know, how will these individuals help reduce or curb some of the crime. But another problem that I think we also have to keep in mind, and I have a suggestion, by the way, on some things that may be helpful. But one of the things that people need to talk more about is law enforcement can't be in a house when two individuals are arguing and somebody pulls out a gun and shoots another person.
Impossible. Impossible to prohibit, stop, intervene.
Right.
So this is internal familial conflict resolution.
Correct. So you see a lot of that happening, or if you have two individuals on a street corner and they have beef, they get into an argument, and that goes back to conflict resolution. the first thing that an individual sometimes that we've read about would do is they pull out a weapon and start shooting.
Yeah.
And what's happening is not only are they shooting at their target, but they're innocent bystanders.
Recently, very tragic
Right.
incident
Who
with a
was that?
gentleman in a wheelchair.
Gentleman in a
Children
wheelchair.
that are just in the wrong
Right.
place at the wrong time.
The 3rd Avenue West shooting outside the Shell station. There was a congregation of a lot of people. Shots fired. Okay, and there are people who were there. Okay, who get hit. Okay, so that's not a law enforcement issue. It's a societal issue.
Yeah.
And it's been problematic going forward. So I mean, and it's tough to deal with.
It didn't start here, and it's not going to end here. Although I think some things are being talked about and hopefully will be put in place that will help curtail it. I talked to a friend of mine in Minneapolis, and the federal government there issued 3 indictments against 3 gangs, which consisted of 80 people.
Good.
For racketeering.
Yeah.
RICO is
Right.
what they call that. And as a consequence of the arrest and those 80 individuals being held without bond, their violent crime rate dropped like 100%.
But that goes back to what you were saying earlier, is that this problem is not just a Jefferson County or Birmingham problem.
No.
Okay? That jurisdiction you talked about, okay,
Yeah.
they had an increase in gun violence.
Yeah.
And they had to take some extraordinary steps in order to address the problem.
And they did. We're going to take a break. We'll be back, talk about something fun to listen to. Don't go away. This is Our Issues Birmingham. Welcome back to Our Issues Birmingham. Barnett Wright and I have been speaking of things that are so obvious every day with AL.com's reporting, which I've tried to talk to Carol about maybe going into food report. What do they call that section of the newspaper?
Yeah.
Food, and she's not interested in that.
Right.
She likes what she does.
Well, they don't have a food section anymore. They don't have a newspaper, so they have different windows of stuff.
You said you had a solution
to
the gun violence.
I don't know if I have a solution. I probably have a suggestion. I don't know if anybody has a solution. I think it would be nice to consider a crime reduction violence czar. Have somebody, a department, just with a person overseeing it.
Well, we do have a drug nuisance abatement task force.
Okay.
But its mission is not what you just said.
So that's a great point. Okay, so you have a task force over here for property nuisance abatements.
Yeah, houses that are vacant being used for drug stash houses and things of that.
So we have that. Okay, so I think we need a separate task force or a department overseen by a law enforcement professional. I don't know if you bring him or her in, or if you have the chief identify somebody. And there are a lot of very smart officers in BPD who knows what's going on in the streets.
Sure.
And have a feel. Some of them are from Birmingham. Have a feel for what's going on. Make them the anti-violence czar. Oversee a department. I know they're short-staffed, and have that person monitor, look over, and I know they're short-staffed, have individuals who just focus specifically on that particular area. We talk about success. You know, Birmingham Promise is a very successful program in the city of Birmingham.
It has been.
Okay.
As is Restore and the other programs that are working with the juveniles.
Yes. Yes. So similarly, okay, I'm thinking have a focus specifically, not to say they don't have this, but a czar, somebody over top of this, okay, who could oversee this and help address or identify solutions. I don't have the solutions, just suggestions.
Do you think there's
move
not
forward.
already a person who's the criminal violence captain or something of that nature?
I mean, I don't know. I know they have, captains, have lieutenants. I know they have deputies. I don't know, and there may be, but I just think that, there should be some more, I would say, visibility to this. Show some wins, if that person is there, okay, what are some of the wins we keep hearing often about, the number of guns taken off of the street. The crackdown on exhibition driving.
Yes.
Huge success.
Yes.
Okay. Those are some of the wins.
Yes, I've been getting calls from people who want out of leases in downtown Birmingham because they can't sleep at night for what's going on in the streets.
Right.
Now we have speed breakers in the middle of 3rd Avenue North.
Right. But let's give credit where credit is due, right? City Council just passed a resolution that people standing there watching, okay, is subject to punishment, okay, fines and jail time, okay. So now when you go there for this weekend excitement, okay, you can go to jail, okay. And a lot of this exhibition driving is done for the attention, okay. They want people to see them.
I don't get it.
Well, I certainly am not.
Where did that come from? Video games?
I don't know. I mean, because see, that's
so a lot of
part of what I do.
A lot of the problems we're encountering are within the family unit. It would seem to me. So there seems to be a lack of control at that level. If my daughter were out doing donuts in the middle of the cul-de-sac, I don't think I would say, "Hey, it's time to come in."
Right. Well, I would the way I was raised and my 2 boys were raised, okay, they had curfews. I had curfews. I had to be in by a certain time. Okay. And I feared my mother. My mother was a very thin, older, of course, she's my mom, but very thin, wiry woman, and I feared her.
With a wooden spoon? Okay. Mine used a wooden spoon.
My mother had a belt. Okay, I don't know.
My dad had a belt.
Yeah, I don't know where she got it from because she didn't wear pants. Okay? But there was a belt there, and I knew that if I came in beyond 7 o'clock, I would have to face that belt.
Oh yeah, we had to be at the dinner table at 6, or it was hell to pay.
Yeah.
But these days, corporal punishment, even in the home, is subject to prosecution.
I've heard.
Sometimes.
I've heard.
And so it's a delicate balance. I talk to young parents about keeping their lines of communication open with their kids, encouraging them to talk, to show love and affection. Don't criticize them if they've been doing something they shouldn't do. They should come out and let you know so y'all can talk about it. But it's a societal problem that I don't know that we can fix in this show, but we're going to try, and maybe you have another solution when we come back from break. Okay. This is Our Issues Birmingham. I'm with Barnett Wright. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Our Issues Birmingham. We have spent the last 2 segments talking about horrible things, but there are some good things happening in Birmingham as well.
Yes.
Let's focus on some happy things.
Okay.
For starters, Field of Dreams. I know it's not called Field of Dreams,
Right.
but a major coup was accomplished by getting a professional sports, Major League Baseball,
Right.
to come to Birmingham and for the world to see, at least the nation to see,
Right.
a game at Rickwood Field.
That's right.
Where I used to sell Coca-Colas.
Okay. Well, that's going to segue into our next conversation. Okay. Well, you got Coca-Cola building more good news, $300 million.
Oh, yeah, we need to talk about that too.
$300 million facility in Birmingham community. So we could talk about that. But, the game is coming to historic Rickwood Field, the oldest baseball field in the country. The oldest stadium.
June 20th?
It's coming June 20th, okay? And it will feature...
8,000 seats, by the way, so you might want to just click on ESPN.
And those seats sold in 40 minutes.
I was one trying to get in, and I couldn't. I was selected, but I couldn't make it happen.
And there were requests from all over the country. I mean, so
it's a big deal.
It's a huge deal. It's a huge deal, especially given the history of Birmingham with the Barons, okay, with the Negro Leagues, with the coal barons were way back before, almost the modern era that we had.
Mm-hmm.
Given all of the players who came, Willie Mays.
I was working there during the Reggie Jackson days.
Reggie Jackson. I saw some photographs of Bo Jackson.
Yeah.
So some of the greats, Charlie Finley.
Don't forget Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan.
He was at Hoover.
Right, he was at Hoover.
That's right.
So we're going back to Rickwood. I mean,
Rickwood is a classic, old school baseball stadium.
Absolutely.
Much akin, in my opinion, but not nearly as large or as, I don't want to say fancy because it's not fancy at all, and that would be Fenway Park.
Yeah.
But as much historical value as Fenway Park.
Right, right. And for baseball to identify that stadium, to have this classic, to bring in the San Francisco Giants where Willie Mays, of course, made his name. I mean, to bring them here to Birmingham just sheds a great light on the city, the baseball history, everything that the teams have done here.
We have the museum as well.
Yes, absolutely. Well, we have museum as far as
the Negro League Museum.
Right, the Southern League Negro League Museum, next to Regents Field. Okay, and it's just historic.
Well, they're spending a lot of money refurbing Rickwood Field.
Yes.
Birmingham put in some money, but Major League Baseball is putting in a lot of money.
Right.
Because they have to bring the lighting up to standards and everything else. They have some very significant standards.
Yeah.
And my guess is Coca-Cola products will be sold there.
I would not be surprised. I think they're a huge part of it.
So, speaking of Coca-Cola,
yep.
They've just announced that they're, I guess, taking their existing building and bringing everything under one roof.
Yes.
In a new building that they are spending $330 million
That's correct.
on.
That's correct. I mean, it's state of the art. They can have everything.
It's over by the airport, right?
It is by the airport. And they're talking about right now, if you take off and land in Birmingham, there's the Coca-Cola sign.
Yep.
And they're going to now brighten it, have it more visible. So when you come to Birmingham, you'll see that sign now. And when you take off, you see the sign now. And I always look for that. Whenever I travel, whenever I come, I know I'm home, right? When I see the Coca-Cola sign, right? So I think that's huge. And that's a huge investment. I think they're going to retain like 700 jobs. They're going to create 50 new jobs. And it's certainly another win. We've talked about the negative, but you have the baseball game, you have brand new headquarters in this community. I mean, that's huge for Birmingham.
What's their timeline?
It's going to be ready by 2027.
The Coca-Cola?
The Coca-Cola plant.
So we got a ways.
Yeah, and they'll start moving. They may have started moving some dirt now.
Yeah.
They're going to remediate some brown fillers out there. I know Jefferson County contributed $2 million for that. So it's cleaning up the area. You know, it's bringing a lot of that part of the city to renovating, creating, and getting rid of that I think it was a stock valve, whatever it's.
Stockham Valve.
Stockham valve.
Yeah.
You know, and
That's before your Birmingham time.
I've been reading up about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that whole area was like Sloss, McWayne Pipe. Well, it's North Birmingham. I mean,
Right.
It was a hub of activity. It was very much inner city living, and with the attention being paid to City Walk,
Right.
and moving northward towards the new amphitheater,
Yeah.
all of that's kind of gonna create a very vibrant area for the city.
Right. You have the amphitheater there. You have Caraway now. You know, that's no longer eyesore. But yeah, all of that's just going to brighten up that part of the city.
If you had to pick one thing that you'd like to see some movement in that's not being moved, what would it be?
I can't say any one particular thing. I just think that what we talked about earlier, I know a lot of people have talked about the crime issue. I think the water board is something that we probably need some movement on.
I've been trying to get somebody on, but I'll keep trying.
Okay.
I'm getting some pushback.
I wonder why.
This is Our Issues Birmingham. We're going to close with that. Thanks for being with us, and we'll see you next Sunday.
It's good to see you. Always good to see you.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
We get it. Your mornings are hectic.
We're here to help you get ready for your day.
Good Morning Alabama on ABC 3340.
GMA doesn't waste your time.
Local weather, traffic, and news always on your screen.
So the information you need, always where you can see it, even during commercials.
Plus, we have the Good Morning Alabama Live Desk.
Always updating breaking news in your neighborhood and around the world.
Everything you need to prepare for your day. Good Morning Alabama on ABC 3340.